Okay. Well, I'm already sharing my screen. I hope that you guys can see it. I'm going a little bit through a quick introduction. Okay, this platform that you guys are seeing, it's part of the Open Earth Monitor Cyber Infrastructure project, as Milutin said. And this project consists on a huge number of partners developing different data products for different purposes. And this platform, it's pretty much a hub where we will have a taste of all these products. And it might have, because it's still in construction and even the purpose of the platform is still open for redirection, but it has two main purposes, right? One is to showcase all products included in the project, to show the value that it adds to society and to the European Union sustainability initiatives like the Green Deal, etc. And also it can be used for the end users, like Milutin said, for policymakers, etc., to perform their work. So the idea is to have an easy to use platform that provides an overview of all the data products, data storytelling as well, but it can also be used directly for these stakeholders to make their work. There's different types of stakeholders that this platform is targeting. And according to the type of organizations, we're talking about governments, national, regional, international, also European Union agencies and programs, like the ones I was mentioning before, European research organizations from the European Union, private corporations, commercial small and middle businesses, NGOs, non-for-profit, academia, etc. And according to the roles, we have like two main groups. One would be policymakers, business executives. It can be from governments or non-profit or business. And then on the other side, science researchers and technical profiles. Well, no questions right now, right? Okay, I'll move on then. So for this discussion, I will introduce the platform to you all. And the objectives is to identify areas for improvement and enhancement and potential user needs that can be fulfilled by such platform that we might not be considering right now. And finally, define potential enhancements. So a few ground rules, well, a couple of them, and it's to start thinking what you foresee users will need rather than how the platform should work. Okay, so focusing on which needs we are fulfilling rather than the technical solution directly. And then obviously we will propose technical solutions. And when we propose these technical solutions, it would be great if you guys can explain who it will be benefiting, considering the stakeholders the stakeholder classification I was mentioning before, and what need this will be satisfying, okay, this technical solution, and why what's the benefit, why it is beneficial for the end users. So last but not least, the questions that we should be answering is, considering the two main targets I was considering, I was talking like professionals or general public. Given you're a policymaker or a scientific researcher, which activities would you expect the platform to support? Which of your typical work? An example would be, I need a way to identify trends in carbon emissions in a given region, for instance, And the other question that we might try to answer is, given I am a common citizen, what type of information would I expect to see in the platform so that I can understand what's the value that this project adds to society, right? As a taxpayer, pretty much, how can I see the value that my money it's being invested towards, right? Are there any questions this far? Okay. Then I will jump into demoing the app. As you can see on the left top corner, the app's still in the alpha version. Okay, so there are certain things that will not be as robust as there will be when the final product is released, and there will be a lot of gaps. And that's the idea, that you guys help us identifying those gaps and filling them. So when we arrive in the application, the first thing that we see is a landing page, okay, with a compelling message and an illustration that gives the user the idea of what the application is about. Then, well, we can just go back to explore, and then what we will have is a catalog of the different products that we have in the platform that we will be showcasing. which we have divided in two main categories, which are the monitors, which are the data products themselves, okay, that they will include data sets, geospatial representation of the data sets, pretty much. Right now, that's where we're focusing. And then related to those monitors, we have what we've been calling geostories, which will be a way of common citizens like me, for instance, because I don't have a technical nor scientific background, can understand how these data products add value to society. And they will talk about trends, they will talk about changes in things like carbon flux, like air quality, or things like that. And so from this landing page, we have a way to search for the content that we have here. Okay, we can just like, let's say climate, oh, sorry, climate. Then I will be seeing all the, the parts of the catalog that relate to climate. We can also filter them by the categories. We have divided all these products in 6 categories: agriculture, water, biodiversity, soil, climate and health, and forest. And well, let me show you the landing page in total. Okay, we will have all these, yeah, all these. Well, you can see that the search engine is a little slow, but again, alpha version, right? So, and below the catalog, we will have an area to talk about activities from the project. Right now, we're building a social media feed that will be presented here, but as again, this is still a work in progress. Then a footer with the legalities, access to the social media related to the project, etc. Okay, so well, we will also have access to the data catalogs, and we will be able to go to Zenodo and find all the data catalogs related to all the data sets related to the project. And then we will also have access to the project site itself, so that you can follow up the activities that have been taken and that are undergoing right now regarding the project. Like, for instance, our global workshop happening in October. I think that exactly where you guys are right now, or close by, right? It would be out at IASA. So
Close
this
by.
will close by, right? Good. Um, so let's go to the map. Okay, we can access, this is a way for users to directly from these cards that are very easy to understand and compelling, etc. The users can directly access the geo stories and the monitors from here. Obviously, we'll also have an access from here, from the top, from the header, but let's use the general citizen access. So for instance, we have this European Union Climate Monitor. So by clicking on Go to Monitor, I go to this map, where I will, it will take a little to load. Thanks for your patience. But here we will have on this sidebar that soon will be collapsible. Right now it's not, but again, work in progress. We will have all the data sets that belong to this monitor. Okay, we will we can have access to the more information about the monitor. This monitor is being developed by GitLab, one of our partners from Serbia. We can see information about them, etc. We will have a link to the use cases related to the project we are fulfilling. In this case, it's still empty because it's again a work in progress. And then in the map, we can see the geospatial representation of this data set. We have a legend over here to explain on the right, to explain the data. And then we also have, in this case, the data set is a time series. So we can select the frame we are seeing. We can compare. We have a functionality to compare both data sets. Okay, so they should go like this. So we can easily compare the two different timestamps. And we also have a functionality to animate those data sets. I'm going to look for a different data sets which is more compelling regarding time set. Let me go here to the world land degradation neutrality monitor. Okay, so yeah, in this case, we have time series of nightlight images. Okay, this is to give us a hint on urbanization trends in the last 22 years, in this case. Okay, so again, we can see different years. It will take a little to load, but we can see the different years. And then in this case, we can compare different timestamps. Okay, let's compare 2000 to 2022, which will 21, sorry, which I anticipate will have more dramatic changes. As you can see, the differences are pretty obvious, but we can go to somewhere where the differences are more compelling. The idea in the end, the functionality we are, the need we are covering here is to facilitate the analysis and to facilitate the end users, being professionals or common citizens, to see the changes that have happened. Okay, the common citizen will understand the changes and will probably have a general idea of what this means. But for policymakers, for instance, or for researchers, this might have additional value. Related to this data set, we have the geostories as well. And the geostories are even more directed to a quick understanding on this kind of trends. Okay, for instance, based on this same data set, and another one of the data sets that was there is the geostory about urbanization trends. So when I click on it, I will have the data set I was showing you before, the time series of nightlight images on the left, and on the right, we'll have nightlight images differences between 2000 and 2022, so that the users have a quick way to, sorry, this was in play, to compare these two data sets and get the insights that they need. Obviously, we have more information here. In this case, we have more information about this geostory. We can see the computational notebooks, metadata, obviously the author, and then any related publications will be shown here. Right now, this is, again, work in progress, but we have all the description pretty much here. And, well, any questions or any comments so far? Maybe I've been going a little too fast. Just
That one regarding the units, because also before when you show the temperatures, it wasn't very clear which was the unit of the that are shown in the legend.
yeah, well, disclaimer alert. This is still, like I was saying, is a work in progress. So the partners are still preparing their data sets. Some things are still missing, and the units should be displayed here. This all comes from the data itself, and some of these things are being prepared. So in this case, we are not showing the units yet. There is something that I didn't tell you yet, and well, the units are not being shown in the legend. But if I click anywhere in the map where there's data, then I will see the specific data. Yet again, in this case, there's no units. Let me show you another data set where I know, well, I'm betting a little too hard maybe, but I'm pretty sure we have the units here when we talk about, this is a data set about air quality. And this, in this case, you can see the units here, right? And in the legend, we're still working on that part. But the idea is that all the units that are being used to measure the different data sets are displayed to the user on a clear way. And well, besides this, we have functionalities to save visualizations. Okay, the user can save any visualization that will store the data set they are seeing and all the configuration. Okay, as you can see, we also have a way to set the opacity. I mean, the typical GIS functionalities are being considered. Oops, sorry, I just closed the data set. And then also we have, yeah, again, a way to bookmark the visualization we have at that point, with the purpose of saving it to see it later, to go back to it later. And we can also share by copying the URL, or share it by the different social media that the project is registered at. Okay, I'm not going to go there right now. So again, typical functionalities. We can also go, well, in this case, the data set is not defined. Sorry, give me a second. But we can also have a way to go to the data sources. And in this case, it's in Zenodo, and download the data, etc. There's something that I didn't mention, but probably Milutin did before I started, is that the idea is that all the data is open data, and all the technology is open source always. And this is pretty much the basics right now of what we have for this, let's call it GeoHub, right? Where we have all the a comprehensive list of the products being built within this project, in a showcase way. So let me know if there are any comments.
Yeah, I have one question, or rather one remark. I took a look at one particular example in the city of Vienna, and it seems that the water masking between different products is not uniform, even though they have the same resolution. I don't think it's really a big problem, but I don't know, I just wanted to mention it. If you might have a look at something like this.
So, sorry, you mean that the different data sets that we are including in the application are not the same resolution and that they are dealt differently, right?
At least in the metadata, they state that they are the same resolution, but it appears that they're not, at least in some regions. And I'm not quite familiar with the index that's displayed itself, but it's showing values over water surfaces, which doesn't seem quite proper. I think the example was...
You mean this, right? On this area, yeah. Well, as I was saying before...
excuse me for interrupting. There's one particular example for inside of the city of Vienna, the leaf chlorophyll content appears to provide values which are located over water surfaces. And I don't know how much you are processing this, but maybe some additional masks might be used if somebody would really zoom in a lot and access data on a low level.
Yeah, in this case, I'm not in charge of data. Okay, I am pretty much managing building the front end. The owners of the data, I think the owners of this, somebody related to this data, I think it's right now in the room with you guys. I think Leandro might be able to answer. But in any case, what we want to discuss in this meeting, although that is very, very valuable for us, it's more about functionalities and needs that might be needed to be fulfilled by this such a platform. And again, as I was doing the disclaimer before, a lot of this data is still being it's still a work in progress, and there's still there might be artifacts, there might be inconsistencies, but that's because we are in the first steps of the platform pretty much.
Yeah. Santiago, do you know where is this leaf chlorophyll data, and what's the monitor?
I have no clue.
Or Samuel, do you know where did you find it on the rich monitor? So maybe we can just open it and see. I think it's good because then we can chase the project partner to correct this. Yeah, biodiversity. Okay. EU biodiversity monitor.
EU biodiversity monitor. Okay.
So it's ETH Zurich. Yeah.
Okay, this is a good point to discuss with the partner.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the product you were looking at, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. Yes. So yeah, just think about like what are the functionalities you would like to have on such a platform, if but from the perspective of one of the stakeholders, like either researcher or like if you would work in a governmental body, or if you would be like deciding or making decisions on like some policy making position. So what are the functionalities you would like to have, and why? Like why would you like to have those functionalities? So is it maybe I'm just giving some examples, like to derive some statistics over an area, examine trends, or is there something else that you think it could be handy and could be implemented? This is something that would help us at this stage. Actually, we would like to hear from you, and then we can implement in a platform, and hopefully that you can have it later.
Sorry, Milutin, to add that also, if you would like to give us inputs of as a common citizen, how this platform could be compelling for you to understand what's the value that your taxes have added to the European Union society, that could be also valuable for us.
Maybe it's already in there, but I'm guessing some kind of time lapse, right, is always a nice visualization, especially if you're looking at maybe, I don't know how much freedom the user has to define like other color schemes, right, for the legends. Often people want to show something specific, right? Or maybe aggregation, like especially if we're talking administrative, like if we're talking stakeholders in governments, they might not care about the gridded data, but they really want to compare their district to their neighbor's district or something like that. I could see that being of interest.
Yeah, I think that's a very good input. Yeah, so especially I like this like comparing, so probably relevant for local municipalities. They have like comparable statistics or
Yeah, I'd also like to add that it might be beneficial if some of the explanations of the layers that you can import, for example, I'm still in the EU Biodiversity Monitor, and for some people, I don't know, the description of leaf chlorophyll content might not be complete enough to understand what's going on there. And even though it's probably, I think there's a link here where you can download the datasets site and stuff like that, maybe like additional information, which is easily accessible and easily understandable for people of various fields would be beneficial, not only in this type of data providing, but also for the other categories. I assume it might be helpful. And possibly, I think it would be nice if you were able to remove the base map in which or select a different base map of country names and stuff like that, because I think for Austria, the names are in German, possibly, or maybe not. Or it might be useful if they would actually take a look at the Austrian data, they might need country names or city names in German or in English or in a different language, if something like that is possible.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I could also see people wanting to download the image for their PowerPoint presentations without any legends, and then they add their own things like that. It could maybe because maybe the legend isn't in the right locations for what they're envisioning in their PowerPoints, right? They might not want to go to the platform while they're presenting. Might also be a use case.
When you say downloading the image, you mean just that downloading like a GIF or a JPEG or whatever with the data set itself, with the colors, the legend, etc., but without no legend at all, right? With no names, etc.
I mean, yeah, the more customizable, the better, probably. Yeah, like
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I foresee in this sense is that maybe we could be able to hide and show the different layers of the base map itself, right? Like hiding the names, like you can do with Google, like show roads or not showing roads, show names, not show names, things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
A small point that I thought about is especially in the air quality part, maybe there could be some even more post-processed data on like their rate of improvement, so the countries can compare their past state with the current state, so they can see how. I'm not sure if it's on there, but if there's another data that could, or another map that could show the rate of improvement, or is it decreasing in their quality, then that would be very great.
So pretty much in this case, what you're suggesting is additional data sets, right?
Santiago, Johannes here. I created the air quality data sets. These are very rough first prototypes. That was when we created the first version of this app. So it was, let's say, the objective to have a couple of layers that we can show, right? Like many of these monitors are not complete yet. So thanks for the input. Yeah, that'd be something to show yeah, a time series or something like a development over time. The geostory that you can currently see in there shows the onset of COVID. So you can actually see how air quality yeah, increases basically. So it gets better when everybody stays at home. But yeah, that's definitely something for the geostories to tell a story. Hey, like how in the last couple of years did something evolve, something develop, and I think that's the case for other monitors as well. But yeah, just note that we're far from the final products, final data sets. You also see there's a little problem with the legend. So very high values are currently displayed as transparent and not as dark red, for example. So yeah, keep that in mind when you pan through all these layers. Thanks.
Yeah, as I was saying before, thank you so much, Johannes. It's the alpha version. Okay, so a lot of the data sets are a work in progress. The ones that are, let's say, completed are still improvable, and we are aware of that. And we know that there could be more data sets adding more value. Absolutely.
Some time ago, I saw some nice visualizations where a way to combine two layers, right? If it's just, I don't know, two data sets where it's just a heat map, right? And you have one is in whatever green and the other one is in red. You can kind of show them in one at once, and then depending on the color mixing, right, you see correlations pretty nice. You can do this with different times, but also with different variables. So this way you could show two data sets at once and how they interact with each other. Yeah, not sure how useful this is for everyone, but since we're brainstorming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's if it has use for you and you tell us what your typical role, what your work is, then that's fantastic. You know, in the end, we're trying to identify different types of feedback.
Yeah, but I think this is actually quite good because this is more like a general functionality that a user can maybe from the drop-down menu select two layers, and we can predefine the heat color, the heat map colors, or maybe in or just select two colors, and then from the mixing it, they can examine visually correlation from any kind of the layers we are producing around. Yeah. So, but how we can implement this? This is something for consideration actually, because we have different resolutions, data, and so on. Yeah. So, but it's I think it's a interesting idea, especially for scientific community or for others, like to demonstrate that there is, maybe there is a population growth and increase in air pollution. Yeah. So, I mean, this is clear. It's correlated.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, yeah. So it's maybe that they want to examine on, like policymakers, they want to examine something in that way. And as you said, then download this as an image to show to the people, like, yeah. So it's without the validation, but just like to help them communicate the problem. Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, there's also the idea that the platform is like I mean, there's like, I don't know how many data products are behind the platform. And just for everybody to know, which this is something I didn't mention in the beginning, all of these monitors will have their own tool as well. Okay, they will live independent of this platform. And the the main purpose of the platform is to showcase all the activities that have been done in the project. This being said, if we can find ways like to how this data can interact, the correlations between that could be very valuable. not just to showcase the value of this project, but also to have like proper value as a tool itself for end users like policymakers. Any other ideas going around?
Maybe also would be interesting to add some possibilities of performing queries like a special query, the possibility to input some coordinates and to search for location, the possibility to perform attribute queries or value queries, and to be able also to export the results of this query eventually.
Can you tell us a little about the purpose? Why would you need that? What work is behind that? What activities behind that need?
For example, some stakeholder is particularly interested in finding the zones. For example, the example you were showing about air quality, the zones where air quality is very high, so he can maybe evaluate the price of the land within those specific places. Maybe air quality is hedonic parameter that could intervene in the setting of the price. Just an example of the map you were showing.
Good, understood. That's a very good idea as well.
Maybe summary statistics, right, of the image that I'm seeing, like what's the histogram or min max, things like that, of the image that I'm looking at or the image that I'm downloading.
Good. So statistics and analytics beyond the simplistic data that we are showing right now, right? More complex statistics and calculations, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be super complex, but just seeing a histogram, right? Like how it might be easier to grasp, like how many bad air quality spots are there. Yeah.
Good. Very good idea as well.
Another concept I was thinking is that for people who don't understand the meaning of the value, maybe there could be some sort of a guidance toward the value of the index, or for example, even a more general map that says like red is dangerous or yellow is moderate, and then maybe green is good for health or something like that. That's more for like stakeholders or governors or things.
Absolutely. Very good one. I think that's really, really valuable.
Yeah, that's quite good. Actually, this could it can be maybe Santiago a button. You know, they with the question, you know, do you want to understand better this map? And then say yes, and then there is like a guided tour, simplified for a general user to understand. Yeah. So, for example, before examining or getting statistics, so are you familiar, maybe a question, are you familiar with this or not? If say not, would you like extra info, and then providing this pop-up window or something?
Yep. Yep. So I will participate a little bit on the ideas, but even, I don't know if this is too ambitious, but even adjusting a little bit the way the data is displayed according to the profile of the user. We could have like couple of profiles of users depending to their knowledge, you know, like you said, you know, are you saving these matters, or you're just like trying to understand them, and adjust a little bit the messages and the data displayed to adjust to the user.
Yeah, but I still think it's very important, because especially so we see now, we show air quality, and then you can interpret it very differently. This is very sensitive question, and we have to assure that we don't get we don't end up on the headline in the newspapers. Like we just have to give like caveats to the people, that those are numbers, there are some uncertainties around that. We are sometimes, when we can be quantitative, we should say that, but if we cannot be quantitative, we could say that this is just qualitative or just impression, or like just delimit the scope, that's, and this is a very important message to communicate, otherwise people can use it, like, and go to court and say, I look there and, I believe in that, but it's not true. Yeah.
One very practical, probably easy to implement thing would be colorblind friendly heat maps, right? This one isn't. And then I'm not sure how you get like the highest and lower, like how you define your color map, right? So right now I'm guessing it's the lowest and highest or worst and best air quality in Europe. But it could be interesting for the user to specify, I want my high point to be this number, or I mean, if the data is there, how the air quality is in, I don't know, Los Angeles or something like that, right? So I don't just compare with Europe, but with some other arbitrary point.
Good. Right now, the colors are being defined from the data source. So the partners in charge of the data are defining the styles the data is represented, and this includes the color, the text, the values, and everything else. But yeah, that's a very good point. To the colorblind and accessibility measures in general, I think that would be something very relevant for the project as well.
I've just browsed a little bit more through the data, and I've noticed in particular for the EU snow monitor, where you can select a certain day to display the data. As you mentioned before, you're not in charge of the data, but it would be, in this particular example, there's a clearly defined spatial extent, which showcases only a very small region in the northwest of Italy. And in cases where the data is not shown for the whole continent or for the whole area, would be maybe helpful to give a notice, okay, hey, this data set is not complete, or this data set is limited by these factors. Because as you mentioned earlier, it might be confusing for people. As I think as Milutin said, specific example is 2017, the 11th of December. But just as a side note that, I don't know, additional information might be necessary.
Yes, totally agree. And definitely, if this is something that for the monitors we have not considered yet, but it's more or less implicit in our backlog already. But with the geo stories, if you see if I go to high resolution snow water, the map will focus on the area itself. The map will travel to the area where the data is happening. So this is something we're considering. We need to align a little and to agree on standards pretty much for this. But this is something that we already understand that it's very important. If not, you can end up with a map that is showing nothing, like happens. This monitor is very, very expressive about that. If we go to the urbanization trends I was talking before, then you can see that the monitor lands in Turkey, which is where the partners in charge of the data in Istanbul want to focus the attention of these urbanization trends. But yeah, more information about this and more guidance from the application, right?
Yeah, if there is any other feedback, maybe. Santiago, are you happy so far with the feedback? And
I think we have very good ideas. I think we have already very good ideas and very valuable things to noodle about at the project, and then prioritize and see which things to go first for. But I think we have a really valuable set of ideas already.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so then we can do in a post. In a post step, like just to really see what are like a few burning to implement. During till the workshop, and hopefully on the workshop we already on workshop in October we already have improved version. Yeah.
Absolutely, great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, Tina, what are you looking for? Okay. I was thinking glasses because I have one glasses there, miss. Okay, it's getting more and more interesting. You know, towards the end of the hackathon, we are losing all our stuffs around. Yeah. You're sweeter or what? It's here. Is this one? Okay. Yeah. Just yeah. So we hacked the sweeter. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you very much, Santiago. Yeah. Thanks for the demo, and thank you all for really great feedback. I think those are really cool things. We should implement it, and yeah. Ciao, Tina. Bye. So yeah, thanks a lot, and then we will hear about the new version in October. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much.
So now we are moving to the last segment of this hackathon. The idea is so we will torture Leandro a bit more. Yeah. So he has one more presentation. So basically the idea was to present the current landscape and how the Open Earth Monitor fits to it. So I mentioned it the first day. So Leandro prepared some slides about that. So he will present it first, and then I was thinking also Martin Hofer. Martin has an excellent idea a few days ago about like that we have like kind of a concrete product or outcome of this event, so that we have and he suggested maybe to draft a workflow on particular thing. And so this could be a kind of I would say a white paper, like the best practice. So it's a unique opportunity that we have OpenEO people here, PanGeo people, we have Giuseppe and his team, and us all who are working with Python and other tools. So basically, we can use the time now to brainstorm. So after Leandro give a talk and we do discussion a bit how about the open things where we can contribute as a community, so that we can discuss about this workflow. So for example, I was thinking generally about this foundation model that was presented on Wednesday. So how we can actually use this existing NASA foundation model trained on Landsat and Sentinel-2 combined product for particular application. So maybe there are a lot of citizen science in situ data from YASA. Leandro has some in situ data for pasture mapping. So we could define particular topic, some kind of classification or mapping or regression mapping, and really go identify major steps like 4 or 5. For example, preparing the data cube, linking in situ data with data cube data, adopting the foundation model for the particular application, and then how we upscale, how we do the mapping with this model, and then we can discuss, for example, like how you would do this in PanGeo environment, how you would implement this in OpenGeo environment, how you would do this arbitrary outside those environments. Yeah. So yeah, that's this last segment. I think we can start working on it now, and or maybe we have a 5 minutes break and we start 3:30 with Leandro's presentation. Yeah.